In upstate New York lies the small village of Ravenshade, a place where whispers of the past cling tightly to the air, weaving tales of sorrow and despair. By day, the village rests in tranquil silence, the sunlight filtering through the dense canopy of ancient oaks and bamboo groves that guard the vast pond at its eastern edge. But as night falls, thickens with an eerie tension, transforming Ravenshade into a realm of the supernatural. The waters of the pond, dark and unfathomable, never dry, even in the harshest drought, reflecting the deep secrets buried beneath its surface. Cheyenne, a modern man shaped by the bustling streets of the city, returned to his family's estate after years abroad, compelled by the news of his father's passing. He had always dismissed tales of ghosts and curses as remnants of an ignorant past, believing instead in the cold, hard facts of science. Yet, with each step toward the familiar yet haunting landscape of his childhood, he felt an unsettling chill creep up his spine, a premonition of the unfolding nightmare. On his very first night back, as he stood at the upstairs window, the faint scent of damp earth mingling with the smoke from his cigarette, a mournful wail drifted from the pond. It was a sound that twisted his gut, a thin, sorrowful cry that seemed to beckon him closer. The bamboo groves swayed ominously, though no wind stirred the air. A sense of dread settled around him, but he brushed it aside, attributing it to his imagination. The following morning, Razab Ali, the village caretaker, approached him with a nervous look in his eyes. "Sir, did you go near the eastern pond last night?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Cheyenne shook his head, dismissing the question. "No, why?" "A light was seen there. That's never a good sign." "Whenever that light appears, misfortune follows," Razab warned, his brows knitted with concern. Cheyenne laughed it off, convinced it was mere superstition. But as the day wore on, an unsettling panic gripped the village. News spread that the headman's only son had gone mute overnight, after reportedly seeing a white shadow gliding over the pond. Curiosity gnawed at Cheyenne, pulling him toward the ominous water. When he stood at the pond's edge, its surface was as still as glass, reflecting the gloomy sky. Dead weeds bobbed along the banks, and as he gazed into the water, he felt a shiver run through him. His reflection twisted, and for a fleeting moment, he saw a cruel smirk where a frown should be. Startled, he stepped back, his foot crunching down on something buried beneath the soil. He looked down to find a human skull, half buried and grisly. Sweat broke out on his forehead, and a chilling thought crossed his mind. Was this an accident, or a portent meant for him? That night, the sky above Ravenshade turned a haunting shade of red. Cheyenne tried to sleep, but the echo of the sobbing voice haunted him, growing louder, more desperate. At midnight, his door creaked open, revealing a trail of wet, mossy footprints leading toward the pond. Compelled by an unknown force, he grabbed a torch and followed the ghostly path through the thick fog. At the pond, he found a small boat adrift in the center. Inside sat a woman in a flowing white dress, but her face was featureless, an empty void where her eyes should be. Panic gripped Cheyenne, and he tried to scream, but no sound emerged. The faceless figure extended a hand, whispering softly, "Come, come to me." In that moment, a hand gripped his shoulder, pulling him back from the brink. It was Jahir, the village's half-mad fakir, his eyes wild with urgency. "Don't go, son. That's an illusion. She'll drag you under." Breathless, Cheyenne was led to Jahir's hut, where the flickering lantern cast eerie shadows against the walls. The old man opened an ancient manuscript, revealing the tragic tale of Kuhu, the landlord's daughter, who had been drowned in the pond decades ago for loving a mystic son. Her restless soul, trapped in a copper vessel beneath the water, demanded a life every new moon. "How can the curse be broken?" Cheyenne asked, determination flickering in his chest. Jahir handed him a rusted chain. "Dive to the center where the boat rests, retrieve the vessel, burn it, then bury it in the old cemetery. But beware, Kuhu will tempt you. If you falter, the pond will claim you." At 2 a.m., Cheyenne, his heart pounding, tied the chain around his waist and plunged into the icy depths. The water enveloped him like a dark shroud, growing colder and darker with each stroke. Skeletons lay embedded in the sand, their bony fingers reaching for him as whispers filled his ears, urging him to stay. "Come, Cheyenne." find peace here. But he fought against the lure, his fingers grazing against the cold metal of the copper vessel. As he pulled it free, the water erupted around him, and the faceless woman surged toward him, her claws extended, desperate to reclaim her prize. With all his strength, he swam upward, praying silently for salvation. Just as he felt himself tiring, Jahir's hands grasped him, pulling him from the clutches of the pond. Together they threw the vessel into a blazing fire. A horrific scream erupted from the depths of the pond, shaking the very foundation of the village. Smoke spiraled high into the night sky, and then silence fell like a heavy blanket. By dawn they buried the charred remains in Ravenshade's old cemetery, a weight lifted from the village. As the morning sun broke through the fog, the air felt lighter, filled with the sound of birds singing. At the train station, Cheyenne saw the headman's son laughing and speaking again, a sense of normalcy restored. As the train pulled away, Cheyenne stared out the window, feeling a profound shift within himself. He knew that science could never fully explain the darkness he had faced, nor the light that had emerged. But in Ravenshade, the cursed pond had finally breathed a sigh of release.